Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been about 4 weeks since I've made a video, but I finally have time to do my labor and delivery video. I've been busy obviously with the baby, but we also moved, as you can tell. If you hear him, he's over here with my niece. While I make this video, I'll show you guys him at the end. So basically, my sister wrote down all the times of what happened and stuff like that. I'm just going to go through and I'm basically going to describe exactly what is on this paper, the times and everything. And then kind of throughout the story, I guess, and towards the end, I will explain my feelings on how I feel and such. I'm not going to really talk too much about breastfeeding or him, what he's done so far this month, because he will be a month old in like 3 days. I will make a new video on that probably in a few days or so, maybe tomorrow or today if I get time. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started. So the last time you guys talked to me, I was 39 weeks pregnant, and I had a new doctor's appointment on that Friday, the 22nd, to talk about possible induction and to see how far, if I was dilated anymore. I was not dilated anymore, and basically we decided on induction on Monday the 25th. So we got there about 7 o'clock. I got into the nightgown and socks and stuff like that. I had a morning nurse. Her name was Casey, and she was my favorite, and that's why I'm mentioning it, because I loved her. About 7:12, they hooked me up to the external monitors, and my doctor came in a few minutes later, and basically my nurse tried about a half an hour later to put an IV into my arm. And I had a bruise there for about 2 weeks. She wasn't able to get it going, and I knew she wasn't going to be able to. So the anesthesiologist came in a few minutes later and put an IV into my hand. And then lab came in and drew blood work and stuff like that, which I ended up finding out I was anemic, and I'm still on 2 iron pills a day. Another thing is they inserted a pulley at 8:45, and basically what the pulley is, it's a balloon that they fill up with water into my cervix, and there is a string attached that they just pull on and tape farther down my leg every half an hour, and they mix that with Pitocin through my IV. And the pulley will fall out on its own at 4 centimeters. And my doctor said that he thought it was going to take about 4 to 6 hours before I was 4 centimeters, since I was only a centimeter when I came in. So they started me on Pitocin at 9 o'clock, 15 minutes later, and at 10:40 my pulley came out. I was 4 centimeters exactly, and I was able to get on the birthing ball, and I was playing cards and stuff like that, and absolutely no pain at this point. When the pulley was in, it hurt a lot because it's basically pulling on my cervix, but other than that, it wasn't painful. Once the pulley came out, I had absolutely no pain whatsoever. And the meantime between the pulley getting put in and the pulley falling out, I did use the restroom a lot. I had a lot of bowel movements for some reason. I don't know. At 11 o'clock, my doctor came in and basically wanted me to, or he wanted to break my water. And I begged him not to, because I knew after 24 hours they try and say like that there's risk of infection and blah blah blah. And I wanted it to happen on my own, but he basically said that I was already 4 centimeters, so we might as well just keep on going. And so he broke my water, and I was 5.5 centimeters, and I was having contractions on the little chart all the way up in the hundreds, like the tip top, and I was still in absolutely no pain. At 12:25, the anesthesiologist came in. My doctor was already back at his office, so he had no clue what was going on. Well, he did, but he didn't. The anesthesiologist, I had water in this hand, and basically he shoved the clipboard down my throat and shoved it in this hand, so I had no way to grab a pen, so he just shoved it in between the clipboard. And like that irritated me, and I was kind of in like my own zone. Like I was just like, okay, whatever. So I just signed it, and now looking back at it, it really pisses me off that I did that. But basically, he was like trying to say that the doctor might have to use forceps, and that's really going to hurt. Or if I have to get a C-section, then they're going to have to knock me out and I won't be able to see the baby. Like, they were all just trying to do scare tactics with me nonstop, which is bullcrap. So anyways, I signed the paper, and at 12:33, he had me lay on my left side, and I had to curl up in a ball. I was having contractions, but like I said, I was not feeling them. And basically, when he put the needle in, I jerked, and at that point they thought I may have paralyzed myself because I felt it more to the left. And yeah, my doctor came in mid-epidural and yelled at the anesthesiologist because he knew I was in absolutely no pain, so he was really pissed that he like basically talked me into getting an epidural and stuff like that. So anyways, they gave me a test dose, and the test dose was only supposed to last an hour, and it ended up lasting 4 hours because I had an allergic reaction to the epidural. So I wasn't able to get back on the birthing ball. I wasn't able to walk around or anything like that, which really irritated me. The anesthesiologist also said that it wouldn't slow down labor. Bullcrap. I knew it would, because right after he inserted the dose, he said, "Oh, there goes your contractions." They flatlined. So they'd up it again. Between 12:30 and 2, I tried to take a nap, and nobody wrote anything down. At 2 o'clock, 6 centimeters, and at 4:45 I was checked again, and I was 6 to 7. I was 90% apphased, and my bladder was emptied for the first time since the epidural was placed, which is kind of bullcrap. My nurses weren't really paying attention because this is when they had a shift change, and she asked why I didn't have a catheter in. And I ended up with a UTI because of the catheter, which always happens to me every time. At 5:30, my doctor came in and checked me. I was still at the same, so he decided to put an internal contraction monitor on me at that point. At 5:40, he placed more epidural on a drip this time. At 7:20, I was checked by a different nurse, and her name was Caitlin, and I was 6 centimeters, so I kind of went backwards a little bit because of the epidural. And Caitlin basically stated that I didn't have to have the vitamin K shot or the vitamin K eye stuff put on him when he was born. And according to all the nurses and stuff like that, they said it was a state law and blah, blah, blah. But she said that she didn't have it done on her children, so I basically signed a paper stating that I didn't have to get that done. So we didn't get that. At 7:55, I made them quit the epidural because I was having an allergic reaction, plus when I jerked, it was more to the left. I was completely numb from the like belly down on the left. I could not move it, and on the right I was still able to move my leg. It just took like a little more effort, so it was really pissing me off because I did not like being numb. At 9:40 p.m. they checked my cervix, and I was still at 6 centimeters, and at 10:10 I made them start the epidural again because I was having really, really bad back labor, and I figured, you know what, fuck it, I already have the damn epidural already in my back, and I want to get some sleep, so whatever. So I just made them put more in. Tuesday, June 26th now, at 12:45, my doctor talked about a C-section because he said he wanted the baby born yesterday, the 25th. And I told him no, and at this point, my sister, my boyfriend, and my mom, I guess my fiance, were outside smoking nasty cigarettes, and my friend Miranda was in the room when the doctor talked the C-section. When my doctor seen that Sten came back in the room, he basically tried to talk him into talking me into a C-section, and he got really cocky with him and said, no, we're not doing a C-section unless there's something wrong with her or the baby. And during the whole entire time of labor to delivery, the baby and me were both 100% fine, our heartbeats were fine, and stuff like that. At 1:30, the doctor wanted to put me on antibiotics just in case I had a C-section, because it was getting close to 24 hours without water, and I was still 6 centimeters. At 6 a.m., over 5 hours later, I was 7 centimeters and 100% apphased. Around noon, I was checked again for 9 centimeters, and I wasn't progressing even after a few pushes. So my doctor basically told me that I had to either sign death papers, is what I call it, or C-section papers. And the death papers are basically stating that my doctor is not responsible if he harms the baby or if something happens to the baby during delivery. If I do decide to go vaginal, and I'd be signing a death certificate instead of a birth certificate, which I thought was bullshit. They basically tried every scare tactic possible to get me to have a C-section. So basically, I signed the C-section papers because they were giving me no choice. I had to sign one or the other, and thinking back, I should have just denied both of them, but whatever. So at 12:45, I signed the papers, and basically they gave me more epidural, and I got numb on the left side all the way up to my breast, and on the left I was numb still, or on the right I was still numb from my belly, because once again I was having an allergic reaction and it wasn't working right. So basically, they waited a couple minutes and they like ran down the hallway with me to the OR, and that scared the crap out of me. And like everybody jokes now in my family that it was just in case I didn't like change my mind and make them take me back. But I really don't know why they ran with me. They just did. Maybe risk of infection, I don't know. So anyways, they took me into the OR. Sten was put into scrubs. He was still in the hallway. And they put me on the bed and the blue curtain was put in front of me. But because I'm so short, my belly still had to be in the middle of the table. So the curtain was like basically touching my face and I was breathing it in. So they had to put an oxygen mask on me because it was touching my face that much. I was strapped down to the boards and stuff like that. So anyways, Sten came in and he went to go touch my head and I said, don't touch me. I was kind of in my own little zone, like, come on, let's get this done. I'm like so irritated that I even have to do this. When they asked me to either sign death papers or C-section papers, I bawled my eyes out for like 15 minutes saying that I was going to die and all this other stuff. So I was just kind of like, whatever, let's go. Looking back at the pictures now, I see blood in them, so that kind of scares me. And also, basically, I kept feeling I felt the first incision because of allergic reaction. I was not completely numb, and I kept moving my feet. I want to mention that too. The whole time I was on the table, I kept moving my feet because I was just so worried my feet were going to go numb and I was going to get paralyzed. So my doctor made a joke about that too. So I felt the incision, and they like freaked out and gave me morphine and more epidural. And then I kept feeling a little bit of cramping. I wasn't really feeling too much pressure at this point, other than like I kept feeling them tug and tug and tug my skin because they gave me a little incision. And I kept just waiting to hear the baby cry. And then finally I heard him cry. And I guess I was so drugged up because they gave me 2 other shots of morphine before he came out because I was feeling cramping and I wasn't supposed to. That I guess I looked over and said aw and turned back and just like totally ignored the baby because I was so drugged up and didn't know what was going on. And then Sten was holding the baby behind me and he was never put up to my face. Yeah, I couldn't even see the baby. I didn't know what was going on at all. And then I thought Sten was still behind me, but I guess not. And I kept feeling a lot of cramping, so they gave me more morphine and a different shot. I think it was Demerol or something. They gave me something else in my IV, and I was really drugged up, and I don't know, I just kept asking, are we almost done, are we almost done, I don't want to do this anymore, are we almost done, and they kept saying 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. Well, basically when we were done, the curtain was pulled off and my doctor was nowhere to be found, which really pissed me off. He never said congratulations, never said I hope you feel good, nothing. He just basically ran into the guest room and told my mom that it was a little incision and I'd be happy and blah blah blah, and then he left. Never said anything to me until the next day. Yeah, I guess he was worried about, I think he thought I was worried about the incision, that's why I didn't want a C-section, but that's not the reason. I don't care if he cut me up and butchered me. I just didn't want a C-section because I'm not going to have any more kids because of it. I don't know. Yeah, it just pissed me off. So anyways, they pulled the epidural out of me and I turned around, like I turned my head and Sten was nowhere to be found, or the baby. And I asked and they're like, honey, he's been gone for about 15-20 minutes in the recovery room, and I didn't know that because I was so drugged up. So they wheeled me into recovery. I was in there until about 4:30. The baby was born at 1:34 p.m. on June 26th. He was 7 pounds, 15 ounces, and 20 inches long. He was really tall, and they're estimating he's going to be about 6 foot tall when he gets older. He has really big hands and really big feet, so I think he's getting that from my grandpa. I'm not sure. So anyways, I asked to hold him. This was before his bath, and they said that's fine. And then I asked to feed him, and she said, honey, I don't think he's going to. You're both pretty, like, drugged up, and most babies won't latch at first and stuff like that. And she was like, on top of that, I can't lift you up because of the C-section. But she lifted me up just a little bit, and he latched on immediate, and throughout the whole entire time we were in the hospital until that Friday, he was an amazing nurser. So basically, that's how that went that night. Basically every night I was super exhausted because the nurses wouldn't leave me alone. They all bugged me in the middle of the night. So like, between them bugging me and the baby, I got no sleep the whole time we were there. We were there until Friday. I wrote down some other things. Wednesday, his jaundice levels were really high, and I mentioned it that his eyes, the whites, were really yellow, but they didn't do anything until later on that night. And then I had 2 really big blood clots when I was in the shower, the size of a baseball, but they said that was fine. I guess. I freaked out. When he was first born, his jaundice levels were 6.4, and they were supposed to be 6 or below, they said. But yeah, Thursday, his jaundice levels were 13, and so they had to put him underneath the jaundice light. And I asked for them to have it in my room, and they did at first, and he just kept bawling and bawling and bawling. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I had absolutely no sleep that night or the previous night, so I bawled with him. I couldn't get out of bed. The nurse was a bitch. That was like the worst nurse I ever had. So I let them take him into the nursery because they really wanted me to get some sleep, and like I was getting sick from not having any sleep. I only slept an hour, and then I was up the rest of the day. He also got his pictures taken that day also. And then Friday the 29th, they sent us home around 6 p.m. and it was storming outside, and my mom came to get us because it was really hot too. They also sent us home with a wallaby blanket, which is basically a jaundice blanket. It's just low lights, and he was on that for a few days. And then my milk came in that night, and I became very, very engorged to where it was choking him, and he was not able to eat off of me. It's still like that occasionally, so we do pump and feed from a bottle as of right now. But like I said, I'm not going to get too much into detail because I am going to make a breastfeeding video. So that's all as of my notes. As my feelings, I'm really pissed off about the whole situation and what my OB, I feel like I chose the wrong OB, and that I'm being not punished, but I just feel like I could have made a better decision and this is all my fault type of deal. Just because of what he's still doing to me postpartum. He's treating me like shit. I don't know. I'm just really pissed off about it. Yeah, I go back to him in a few weeks to get discharged, and then I lose my medical insurance and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm just pissed off about that. Basically, everything on my birth plan, nothing happened how I want it to be, except for he didn't get his Hep B shot, and he still hasn't. We're waiting until 2 months. I'm still doing some research and deciding. I don't think I'm going to, but we'll see. Also, he isn't circumcised like I wanted. He's still intact, and breastfeeding went perfectly until that Friday. So I'm happy that we're both here and healthy, but I'm also pissed off of how everything went, and I felt like I should have waited on that epidural because I was in absolutely no pain whatsoever. I was zero pain at all, and I felt like I could have waited. Even, I don't know, he was just trying to scare me, so I just thought I should have waited, and I probably would have progressed instead of going backwards. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just kind of irritated, and I do cry about the situation occasionally. I get very upset and very emotional about it because I do feel like I'm probably not going to have any more kids because of the C-section. I know people can have multiple C-sections. I just don't feel like it is for me, which makes me upset because I've always wanted at least 3 children. But yeah, we'll just have to see how the future goes. But my son is here and he's healthy. I'm not going to really update too much. He is gaining weight. But that's all I'm going to say about him. If I think of anything else that I think is important for this video, I'll leave it down below. If you have any questions, leave me a message or comment down below. I'm sorry I haven't made a lot of videos, but like I said, I've been very busy, but I'm going to be trying to pump out some more. My niece is out of school for the summer, so I may steal her a few times so I can get some help with him so I can make some videos until he gets older and on a schedule, because he does wake up every 2 to 3 hours and he likes to be held a lot. So yeah, I'm going to show him to you guys, and then I'm going to go. So this is Harlan, and his middle name isn't the same, and I'm not going to say it for security purposes. We did change his middle name, but yeah, this is Harlan, and he is a chunky monk. And I do plan on doing 1-month updates, random clips of him and such like that. And this is his new little sleeper, 0 to 3. but yeah. He's very alert when he's awake, and he loves to have his hands by his face, and they're always like out, like when he sleeps. He does not like his hands covered. But yeah, this is my baby boy. He's gonna get bad. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon, and have a great day.